I want to take a moment to recognize the tragedy that's been going on in California. It's truly been devastating to see how many people have lost their homes and are now left with grief, fear, and hopelessness. I will be offering pro bono somatic experiencing services to first responders and anyone else who has been directly impacted by the fires. If you know someone who has been affected and is in need of trauma services, please share this with them. Those interested can contact me at tatiana.szulc.lmhc@gmail.com. Welcome to She is Resilient, a podcast for women on their healing journeys who are ready to start living their most authentic and empowered lives outside of survival mode. I'm your host, Tatiana, trauma and somatic therapist, as well as a holistic coach, and I'm on a mission to help more women heal their nervous systems. Each week, me and my guests are going to get real and vulnerable about the experiences that led us to becoming the empowered and resilient women we are today. You'll leave this podcast with the skills, knowledge, and inspiration to start creating the life you deserve. Because if another woman can do it, so can you. Welcome back to another episode of She is Resilient. Today we're going to piggyback on the last solo episode where we talked all about mindset and limiting beliefs, and we're going to dive more into our inner critic. But before we do that, if you haven't listened to episode 62, Outsmart Your Mind, the hidden truth about mindset work, I invite you to go back and listen to it so that you can really understand where your negative beliefs are stemming from. So today, I want to talk more about the connection between your inner critic and self-esteem and how to start increasing self-esteem so that you can feel more confident and empowered and ultimately thrive, because that is what we're here for. So when I think about the inner critic, I'm thinking about those times where you judge, criticize, or shame yourself, right? And usually, whether you have conscious awareness of it or not, it's not your voice. So what do I mean by that? I mean that this inner critic truly stems from an earlier experience or experiences where someone else was judging, criticizing, or shaming you. And this could have been a parent, a sibling, another adult in your life, like a coach or a teacher, friends, right? The list can go on. And I'm not saying that you have to go back and try to figure out where this stems from, because figuring out the why isn't how we heal. So whether you know what this earlier experience was or not, that's not the focus of this episode. What I want you to understand is that usually that person's voice becomes internalized and later becomes your voice. So as you got older, you began to judge, criticize, and shame yourself. And as a result, you might feel like you're never going to be good enough. There might be an underlying core belief that you're unworthy or unlovable. And all of these feelings or thoughts are a reflection of a free state. So going back to what we talked about in episode 62, every thought is a reflection of the state of your nervous system. So the judging and the criticizing is a sign of the fight state. But when we start to beat ourselves up so much that we experience deep-rooted feelings of shame or unworthiness, we are talking about the free state. And in the free state is where low self-esteem lives, low self-confidence, feeling like you're not good enough, wanting to keep yourself small, not wanting to take up so much space, or maybe wanting to take up space but feeling like you can't, inability to show up fully as yourself, and experiencing jealousy towards others who may be accomplishing things that you haven't. The physical sensations that may show up with these feelings are emptiness, constriction, a weak feeling in the arms or legs, or disconnection altogether, so inability to even identify the sensations in the body. Behaviorally, this may show up as people-pleasing, not setting any boundaries, repeatedly asking for reassurance from others, comparing yourself to others, looking to others for validation, putting people on a pedestal, So for example, admiring someone to an extreme and self-sabotaging, right? So all of these are indicators that you are disembodied. Because when you're in a survival state, fight, flight, or freeze, you are naturally disembodied, meaning you are not connected to yourself, to your body, because the body only lives in the present moment. And when the nervous system is in survival mode, it needs to be prepared for danger. So it can't be connected to the body. That's not the nervous system's priority. The nervous system's priority is to keep you alive. So if you're looking outside of yourself, you are disconnected or disembodied. So in order to increase self-esteem and confidence and reclaim your power, that inner fire that I know every woman has, you need to connect to the body. I know that's not a surprise. I say this pretty much in every single episode, but it's the only way to move out of survival mode. Without connecting to the body, we can't access the nervous system. So this is exactly what I do with my somatic experiencing clients. But I will walk you through some of the things that you can practice on your own to start reconnecting with your body. Hey there, if you're looking for daily somatic practices to add to your toolbox, I'd love to introduce you to my somatic bundle where I guide you through over 30 somatic tools and practices that support your nervous system by creating the safety that your nervous system requires to move out of survival mode. Just click the link in the show notes and you will get immediate access to my library of tools. See you there. Number 1. Notice where your inner critic lives in your body. What are the emotions? And more important than the emotions, what are the physical sensations that are coming up for you when that inner critic shows up? Do you feel tension, heart palpitations, constriction, emptiness, a pit in your stomach? Acknowledge that those sensations are there, and when you're ready, begin to notice the pleasant sensations in your body. What feels pleasant inside? What feels supported? What feels maybe just okay? Number 2, when your inner critic shows up, it's a good sign that your nervous system is detecting a threat. And as a reminder, your job isn't to figure out what that threat is. Your job is to simply acknowledge that the nervous system is perceiving danger. And as you acknowledge, begin to create safety in your body. You can do this by slowly orienting and showing the nervous system through the eyes that there's nothing going on. So slowly taking in your space, allowing the head and the neck to follow your gaze. Number 3, start to pay attention to the moments that you feel accomplished, proud of yourself, when you feel warmth in your body or connected to yourself or others, when you feel confident in your body. And take a moment to be with those feelings a little bit longer. So often we can acknowledge that we feel accomplished or proud of ourselves, but we don't actually take the time to really be with the feelings, to really experience those sensations that come up with the feeling of being proud or the feeling of knowing that you accomplished something. The longer we stay with those pleasant feelings, those feelings of warmth, proudness, expansion, confidence, the more we tell the nervous system that these feelings are safe to feel, and the more that we build the capacity to continue to feel them. So for example, the reason people self-sabotage is because they don't have enough capacity in their bodies, in their nervous systems, to be with all the good that's coming. And so by spending more time with what feels good, we can create more of that capacity. And number 4, practice gentle self-contact. If you start to feel a pit in your stomach, when the inner critic shows up, see if you can take a gentle hand on the area where you feel the pit. And you're just making contact. You're not adding any pressure here. We're just using the contact of the hand to say, hey, inner critic, I see you. I'm here. But we're not doing it with words. We're doing it with touch. Because remember, the nervous system's primary language is physical sensation. So by bringing a gentle hand to the area where your inner critic shows up, we're simply extending gentle compassion towards it without trying to get rid of it or just noticing, just acknowledging. So just to recap, number 1, notice where your inner critic lives in your body. Number 2, create more safety in the body. Number 3, start to pay attention to the moments that you feel accomplished and spend a little bit more time with those parts in your body. And number 4, practice gentle self-contact. So by creating more safety in your nervous system and moving through your survival states, you will be able to access that inner fire and feel your most confident, liberated, and empowered self. I've witnessed it over and over again with the women that I work with. And I think it's so funny because the most common phrase that I get is, I feel like Wonder Woman. It's mind-boggling how many times I've heard that phrase. That one and this feels like magic. But I often get, I feel like Wonder Woman. And usually it's at the end of a somatic experiencing session. Because it's true, they do feel like Wonder Woman. Because discharging that survival energy and moving through survival states really allows you to access that confidence and take up as much space as you want. It's truly incredible. And I want every single woman to experience that. I want every single woman to feel like they are Wonder Woman. Just like I always say at the end of my intro to this podcast, if another woman can do it, so can you. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. If this episode resonated with you, please send it to one of your friends, share it on social media, or just share with me your takeaways. I absolutely love reading all of your comments and feedback, so thank you, thank you. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you absolutely loved this episode, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed and left a review on Apple Podcast, or take a screenshot and share this episode on social media. Don't forget to tag me at tatiana.holistic.coach. The more nervous systems we reach, the more generational cycles we break, and the more we contribute to a kinder and safer world. And if you're looking for somatic healing services, send me a DM and I'd love to chat on how I can support you. I'll see you in the next episode.